Marth and Lucina have one of the greatest spacing tools in the game. The tip of Marth's sword is much more powerful than the rest of the sword, while Lucina's is balanced all throughout the sword, which allows Lucina to be able to play a bit more safe against shields, since she has much more shield hit stun than Marth's sour spot, and exactly just as much hit stun as Marth's sweet spot. However, Marth's sweet spot has a bit more shield damage and shield pushback, making it a tiny bit harder to punish. So while Lucina has an easier time dealing with close range shields, Marth works better at max range shields, as well as he will grant you much bigger rewards when you actually hit the sweet spot, since they have much more power than Lucina's sword. It also means that Marth can use his sour spots to true combo into things that Lucina wouldn't be able to pull off. Marth also has longer range on a few attacks by a very minimal amount. Both Marth and Lucina benefit a lot from extended dash dancing, foxtrotting, pivot tilting, perfect pivoting, tomahawking, and walking, since they have the fastest walk in the game, and it allows them to use their tilts and their shield more consistently as they are trying to get close to the opponent. I will mostly be focusing on Marth, since most things will apply for Lucina as well. However, if they don't, I will be addressing it. Jab is Marth's fastest move on the ground, together with Dolphin Slash. It's really good during neutral for spacing and intercepting the opponent's aggression. It's safe if spaced correctly, and if it's badly spaced, there's a chance that his second jab could possibly interrupt grabs and possibly launch them into a tech situation. It's also one of his better out of shield options to quickly punish the opponents. It's always optimal for Marth to connect the jab, since it always leads into something. At low percentage, you have jab to grab or dancing blade. At mid percentage, dancing blade or an aerial. At certain high percentage, it connects to forward tilt or up tilt to kill, depending on how they DI, which should let you have enough time to react to. At a really high percentage, you can start true comboing jab into forward smash. This usually works better if you connect with the sweet spot jab, since it has more hit stun than the sour spot. Keep in mind though that if the opponent is a fast faller or a heavy character, these combos will have a larger percentage window of connecting, while floaty characters will be able to escape these combos much earlier and easier since they get launched further by the jab. The sour spot launches the opponent slightly away, making some of the previous combos more avoidable. If you connect with the sour spot, it could however allow for some other combos to work. This sweet spot keeps launching the opponent at a certain angle upwards. Remember that if the opponent DIs away, it will always be harder for Marth to connect any follow-up, and they will be able to avoid the follow-ups by using air dodge, which is a bad option that can always be punished. Attack, which can be shielded and punished, intercepted with another jab, tilt, dancing blade, or counter. And if they jump, you can try to punish with a forward air, back air, or up air. One of the best things about jab is that you can jab cancel it, by either holding the analog stick diagonally downwards and pressing attack, or by holding the analog stick down and push the A stick to the 45-degree angle. This allows jab to cancel into itself, letting it come out roughly 6 frames faster, which means you can now true combo jab 1 into jab 1 and add more damage or force reactions. It also makes it much easier for Marth to catch out double jumps, and when you do, you can start considering forward smash, since it will punish the opponent for attacking, and if you charge it, it punishes the air dodge. Lucina's jab is pretty much the same. The middle of the sword launches them away, and the tip launches them upwards. Forward tilt is basically a faster and safer version of forward smash. In the neutral, it's used to zone out both grounded and aerial approaches. Its main use is to quickly punish mistakes that forward smash would be too slow to punish. It also scores kills at high percentage, since it kills relatively early if sweet spotted. If it sour spots at mid percentage, it has a chance of launching the opponent into a tech situation. Forward tilt is safe on shield at max range, so you can always throw out another tilt, jab, or dancing blade to keep them out, or force reactions like rolls and punish them with dancing blade, or punish jumps with aerials. Forward tilt can be really good at the ledge, since it can cover neutral get up attack, jump, and even roll. Lucina's forward tilt always has horizontal knockback, making it mostly a good tool for launching the opponent off stage. Forward smash is one of the most devastating punishing tools in the game, since the sweet spot is extremely strong, and it's tied as the fastest forward smash in the game, together with Pit's and Samus's forward smash. It's easily punishable if missed though, so be careful about using this move. It's especially useful to learn how to combine this move with a foxtrot and perfect pivot to effectively space yourself correctly for the sweet spot to hit. It has a chance of catching out 2 frames, however it's extremely hard to get. It also punishes opponents hanging from the ledge, making it a great punish whenever the opponent tries to grab the ledge a second time without invincibility, or if they keep stalling. Lucina's forward smash is obviously strong throughout the whole sword. Definitely not as strong as Marth's sweet spot, but it still makes it easier for her to punish and kill at closer range without having to perfectly space the move. Her forward smash doesn't reach opponents on platforms, however. Down tilt is Marth's safest grounded move. It's simply used for poking and pressuring from a distance to carefully observe your opponent's choices, so you can learn how to punish them accordingly. Not only does it force the opponent to recover low, as well as it has a chance of punishing 2 frames, but it can also punish most characters that stall at the ledge, which pressures and conditions them into choosing an option quickly. It's exceptionally good at punishing ledge release to double jump, especially since it opens up for an amazing edgeguard opportunity that might lead into a kill if played correctly. At mid%, the sweet spot down tilt will start launching the opponent for a tech situation, and at high percentage, the sour spot starts doing the same. Down smash is usually only useful as an out of shield punish since it's really fast. Other than that, it's really hard to find an effective use for it. Up tilt is Marth's second fastest move on the ground. It's a decent out of shield option in certain situations. It can be used in neutral to stop air approaches and to keep the opponent above you. It's amazing at baiting air dodges and double jumps, since it basically beats attack. Air dodges can be easily punished, and double jumps can be followed so you can cover their landings with an aerial, dancing blade, or a shield grab. You can also use it to catch regular get-ups on the ledge with its back hit, so you can combo it into a tipper back air or up air. Lucina's up tilt hits hard, making it more difficult to combo with at high percentage since it launches the opponent too far away. Up smash is a good but easily punishable kill move. It has a good hitbox around Marth, so it could be a useful out of shield option. The main hitbox is on Marth's sword and hand, but it has a secondary bigger hitbox around Marth that launches the opponent into the main hitbox. Lucina's up smash is better than Marth's, since it does more damage and can kill earlier. However, it still kills later than Marth's sweet spot. Dash attack is not very effective. The only thing that it can accomplish is covering retreating landings while it lowers your hurtbox. However, using shield dash to grab or dancing blade is usually the more optimal option. Neutral air is Marth's safest and best spacing tool. This move can be buffered out of shield to try and get the opponent off while being mobile. However, the most effective way of using it is by short hopping, wait a little, and then throw it out while fast falling so that you can land just as the move ends. Generally speaking, Marth has an incredible ledge guarding game, and except for the previous tools that I've showed you, neutral air is probably the best move for covering the ledge, especially since you can react to roll. The first hit of neutral air is also amazing, leading into grab, jab, tilts, and forward smash at high percentage. It's also an amazing option to punish missed techs in certain situations, since it pops them right up instead of launching them, allowing you to set up a combo for more damage. Forward air, Marth's signature move, is used as a spacing, walling, baiting, and punishing tool. Short hop forward air can be used to damage shields and bait certain characters. However, it's risky. The safer option would be full hop forward air, since you can land with the first hit of neutral air to potentially start a combo, land with the second swing to keep them out and further damage the shield, or up air to push them out at a little bit closer range, as well as you add shield damage and bait. And if it hits, it also starts a combo. Then you can also use shield breaker or double jump to mix things up. It's incredible at offstage edge guarding. And it's also great for comboing in certain situations. Back air is pretty much like forward air. It's an excellent out-of-shield option to punish opponents behind you, and it can lead to tech situations just like forward air. Back air is Marth's best off-stage tool. You can use it to catch opponents' double jumps, punish air dodges, or even pressure, since you turn around and can follow up with a forward air. And just like Roy's back air, if you use it just before landing, it turns you around. Up air is for punishing opponents above you, and juggling. It can put the opponent in an extremely bad spot if they don't have their double jump. It connects into many things, making it an excellent combo starter. It can also be great for combo breaking. What you really want to do is to put yourself in a situation where you are right below the opponent, so you can mix it up with up airs and up tilts, and mix your timing so you can punish air dodges and keep them above you. Down air is also a decent move for spacing away from opponents as you are trying to land, since it can surprise them or really push away their shield. Down air comes out at frame 9 to 13, and the spike hitbox comes out for only one frame at frame 11, and it's placed at the middle of the sword. If you misspace the spike, you will still launch the opponent and potentially still get the kill. The spike hitbox of down air can reset opponents until around 30%, and after that it starts launching them upwards if they don't tech, which could lead to kill confirms. Shield Breaker does a massive amount of shield damage and is Marth's longest ranged move. It doesn't fully break a shield, unless you charge it for a little while. However, just damaging the shield will allow Marth to be able to play fully aggressive. It's most effective after you've already damaged the shield with an attack. It's amazing against opponents on platforms, since they tend to shield in anticipation of an aerial. Shield Breaker has a tipper sweet spot, and it does deal a little bit more shield damage, however it's barely noticeable. It does however have way more killing power if sweet spotted. It can be charged to help you recover, and it can also be B-reversed. Dancing Blade is one of Marth's main ways of dealing damage and punishing. The upward swing is to set up for juggling, forward is for launching off stage, and downwards for dealing the most damage and to force a tech situation. Something to keep track of is that fast fallers can usually escape the last downward and upward swing at really low percentage by DIing down and shielding. There's even a chance they might escape the forward swing. So against fast fallers at low percentage, you'll want to throw out the third downward swing and then the last forward swing, to guarantee that they won't be able to escape, since the third swing has more hit stun and knockback. Actually, the third downward swing lets Marth step back a little bit, instead of stepping forward, as well as it has a tiny bit more shield hit stun, making it a bit safer on shield, if you want to cancel the Dancing Blade. Floaty characters also have a chance of escaping, so against them, you want to mostly go for the forward or upward swing. The most important part about Dancing Blade is that the swings cannot be buffered. You have to time each swing. It's not so much about learning how to Dancing Blade as quickly as you can, but more importantly, you'll want to learn how to do it slowly, but still fast enough so that the hits connect as a true combo. By delaying the swings, Marth will sometimes connect each hit better, and even get a sweet spot to kill earlier. Basically, it's all about timing and reacting to DI. At high percentage, you might be able to only connect 2 or 3 upward swings. This is actually a really good mix-up, since you can now bait or punish with the up tilt. If you use the first hit of Dancing Blade at the peak of your jump, you will stall your fall and gain a bit of height. You can use it to recover, or to stall your recovery as well. If you do it while falling down, you will keep falling to your death, so be careful. You can also catch certain opponents off guard if you use it from the ledge. You can also use it to turn yourself around before you go for an edge guard. And you can also short hop and use the first swing of Dancing Blade as a mix-up. Same applies for Lucina, only she doesn't have any sweet spots, so she usually deals more damage, however she won't kill as early as Marth. Dolphin Slash is a quick, safe, and good recovery. which can potentially frame trap air dodges off stage and stage spike, depending on the positioning. It's Marth's fastest out of shield option, faster than grab, and can kill around 110%. Be careful though, if you miss, you will get punished really hard, unless you land on Battlefields or Dreamland's top platform, making it much safer. To land on Dreamland's top platform, you need to angle the Dolphin Slash back. You can use it to punish ledge attack and regular getup, since it comes out really fast. The hitbox comes out at frame 5. However, the grounded Dolphin Slash has intangibility at frame 4 to 5, while the aerial Dolphin Slash has intangibility at frame 1 to 5, making it an incredible combo breaker. Counter is most effective when you use it to edgeguard recoveries with active hitboxes. Or to punish opponents that try to land with a powerful aerial. Marth's main objective is to zone out the opponent and not allowing them into your space, as well as at the same time defensively poke and pressure with tippers. He excels at setting up a bubble around him to protect himself from approaches and cover areas, and then bring that bubble to the opponent, but keep it at max range. If you manage to land a hit, you should always try to capitalize with a combo or a string of attacks for however long you can. Very similarly to Roy, Marth needs to space around the opponent's shield, with aerials, tilts, jabs, and dancing blade. Only difference would be that Marth never really aggressively approaches. Instead, it's more about keeping the opponent out. The only time he would aggressively approach would be after really damaging the shield, which would actually be his second objective, to through zoning the opponent out, condition them into shielding, only to really damage it or break it. The more you damage the shield, the more aggressive you can start playing. Then it'll start becoming a game of either breaking the shield or not. And as the shield starts getting low, the opponent will also start to panic or change things up by either going all in aggressive, jumping more, or rolling more. If they start panicking and rolling, you can punish with Dancing Blade. If they jump, you can punish with aerials. The reason Marth doesn't approach aggressively is because he doesn't have a good, safe, aggressive approach. Dancing Blade and Grab are both very risky. Now, of course, Marth does have an effective approach. However, if you're going to approach effectively, you need to approach defensively by spacing yourself for the tipper to hit the shield. This is the moment you can choose between actually being aggressive and challenge their options, or play defensively and keep walling them out. It's important to note that if you want to be aggressive with Marth, you need to at least start by approaching defensively, or after the opponent's shield is low, unless you want to take a huge risk and just go for a grab or Dancing Blade. All of this applies for Lucina as well, except she doesn't need to space herself at max range every time against shields. However, she also has a little bit less range, so she does need to be a tiny bit closer than Marth, which means it could be more difficult to deal with certain matchups that Marth would have an easier time dealing with, and the other way around. Marth's grab game isn't as good as many other characters. However, it's not bad by any means. At low percentage, you can down throw into up air or back air, depending on their DI. However, some characters can punish you for hitting them with the sour spot back air, so make sure you hit with a sweet spot and drift back while doing so to create some space so that you don't get punished. If they then try to punish you, you can usually follow up with an up air or forward air to add much more damage. Down throw is also generally good for baiting out air dodges and double jumps. At mid to high percentage against fast fallers, Marth gets a 50-50 by down throwing to an up air. If it's sweet spot at high percentage, it usually kills. Down throw combos are a bit harder to pull off on floaty characters. However, it can still be effective if you know how to cover their options. At high percentage, you could pummel, down throw into Dolphin Slash to to deal a good amount of damage and get them closer to kill percentage. At low percentage, you can also forward throw to forward air for better positioning. You can escape this combo by DIing away and air dodging, however it still puts you in a bad position. It's also good for throwing them off stage for a possible edge guard. Up throw is a kill throw at around 160%, depending on rage and weight, and back throw is simply for setting up for edge guards. Credit to all these Marth players for participating and helping me out. This video was made possible with the donations that I got from all my patrons. Thank you very much for your support. If you want me to make an art of video for your favorite character, then please understand that mentioning it in the comment section below won't help. Instead, please donate to my Patreon and leave a comment with that donation of which character you'd like to see next. And I promise you I'll be working on it as quickly as possible. And of course, if your character has already been made, then please consider donating to help keep this channel alive for some more amazing videos. And by all means, if you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe. I also want to remind you guys that I'm still doing training sessions for $25 per hour. Currently, I have about 20 students and work at least 6 hours per day. If you are interested in taking some sessions, please contact me on my Discord.